Hi, I'm Tinny from Mini Bull Design. Today I'm down here on an old woods road back in the swamp, and I'm looking to see how the fiddleheads are coming. Now, if you don't know anything about fiddleheads, you look around here and there's a big heavy root that they always come out of, and that stays. There should be some. Right here somewhere. Gotta paw around a little bit, kind of dig around, but I don't see any there. So I'm gonna move on down here a little further, someplace where I know that there's fiddleheads. Maybe up ahead here. But it looks to me like they haven't even begun to start to sprout yet. So, let's look around here. Okay, here we go. Here's a root that the fiddleheads come up out of, and I don't see any of the golden papery stuff or any green stump. So I'd say it's way, way earlier than it's going to be another 2 or 3 weeks, I'd say, because I can't see where that's even started to sprout. I'll look around here a little bit. Yeah, I don't. Well, okay, here we go right here. Here's what I'm talking about. Let me pull foliage back here. Okay. Right here at the tip of my finger, you'll see that there's just the beginning of a fiddlehead. Now, that is kind of covered in a papery, shiny, papery covering. But what that will do in a while is that will come up, maybe this high, and it'll have a nice dark green head on it, and that head will start to unfold. Within a couple of days, it'll be, 4 or 5 inches high, just perfect for picking. So I'm going to say it's not going to be that much longer before we have fiddleheads if the weather stays warm. They're almost totally dependent on the warmth. So that answers my question on fiddleheads. Looks like maybe if we had a week of warm weather, we would have some fiddleheads. So that ends this segment of Fiddlehead Hunt by Tinny. Bye-bye. This is an interesting place. It's a little bit of a swamp here. In the spring of the year, the water lays in here and runs across this old gravel road. It kind of reminds me of some of the places you'd see on the Appalachian Trail. If you were on the Appalachian Trail, this would be an excellent place to pick up some water. You can see that the water here is clear. You can see to the bottom and running. Anytime it's running and clear, you're in pretty good shape. I would filter it, but this would be a good place to pick up some water. You can see that clear and running. And these are the type of places I look for when I'm looking to fill my water containers, especially in the evening. This would be an excellent source. Gravel is another good sign. If you've got a gravel bed, you've got a pretty good clean source as long as it's not near any civilization. If it was mud and grass, not so much, but gravel is usually a good source of water. It's a pine tree. Some old dead growth down here. I like these old rustic places. A lot of old dead trees and wildlife, a lot of A lot of animals and insects and creepy crawlies and mice and all kinds of stuff out here that you can catch if you're at the right time of the day. Just a nice place to be. Wouldn't be a bad spot to camp for the evening. Plenty of firewood if you want to build up a little fire. Go up in there in the evergreens somewhere and find a flat spot and pitch your tent or your hammock, and you get a water supply right here. This would be a good spot for camping. Here's something interesting. Here's an old cattail right at the edge of this swamp. Now this one's all dried out and old, but the new ones will be coming out in probably another couple of weeks. And when they get up, 3 or 4 feet high, like this one, maybe even half the size of this, you can pull them out of the ground while they're still soft, and they have a nice root on them. And if you get right down where the root just goes into the ground and pull them out, they'll be white. And that white part is tender and edible. It's a lot like celery. It goes down and then there's a bulb on the bottom. I've heard the bulb on the bottom is edible, but I have never done that. But the part from the bulb up to where they come above ground and get green, that white part, is definitely edible, and is a lot like leeks or celery, I'd say. Be good cooked in with your fiddleheads. I've even heard of people rolling the dust off of this and using it for like flour. Now I haven't done that, but I have read about it. When they're this one is old, but when you have a younger one and they come up and get a head on them, there's a brown dust on them that you can actually, I've read, use for flour. We'll have to try that sometime and see how it works. I would imagine it would be more like cornmeal than flour. Now this area right here may look like just a bunch of bushes and junk and be no real value, but if you're an old Maine boy, you'd know that. If you come up here a little closer, look up over your head, you'll see that we're in amongst cedar trees. Now, since these cedar trees never rot, if you put these in the ground after you cut them down, sharpen the end of them, drive them in the ground for fence stakes, they'll last for 50 years, no problem. You don't even have to peel them. You can see these trees here if you take my hand for a size reference. These trees are the perfect size for fence stakes, and if you look up at them, they're straight, they hold their size well, and they're tall. Each one of them you could probably get 3 fence stakes out of. Good, clean, smooth fence stakes. Lop off those small limbs. If you want to really customize it, peel them, but you don't have to, sharpen them. And there's enough in here to put up enough fence to cover many, many acres. Now, if you were the type of guy that made his living out of the woods, you'd know that every one of these fence stakes, once you cut it and sharpen it, is worth $2.50. So every one of these trees is worth between $7 and $10. And if you're an old boy that lives back in the woods and got a simple lifestyle, there's a lot of income back here if you owned this and had a small chainsaw and an axe. You can make a living right here. Not a good living, but if you live the simple life, it would be more than enough to buy your groceries and pay for your gas and a few luxuries. Now, if you're the type of person that wants to build a fire in the evening, I just happened to walk by this old white birch here, and look at this. Look at the fire start material on this old birch. It is just loaded with all kinds of just bone dry birch bark. Beautiful old white birch tree. And this stuff is just so flammable. It'll take a spark and take right off for you, no problem at all. This site right here is perfect to spend a night with either a fire or just a camp with your alcohol stove. Really a great spot. Everything you need to have a good, comfortable night's sleep. Even the forest floor is covered with leaves and would be a nice, soft place to sleep. And there's a lot of trees around here, the right distance apart, especially up ahead, that would be good to pitch your hammock if you're a bear burrito person. Now in the evening when I get ready to pitch my tent and cook my dinner, I always like to hunt around a little bit and see if I can't find a good flat rock, something that's moderate size and fairly flat to put on the ground outside my tent, or if it's raining, inside my tent, and set my stove right on it. Something that's got a good wide base, fairly level, that I can set my stove on and cook on without it being tippy or anything. And that's a pretty good one right there. There's several really good ones here, but that one catches my eye. Something that's not too high. Grind that into the ground a little bit and move it around. Get it steady and set your stove right there. Works great. Now here's an old growth, not real old growth, but probably a 7,500-year-old pine. There's no dead limbs or anything that are getting ready to fall on you, nothing big anyway. And if you look right here, it's a real nice spot here, flat, level and dry, high ground to pitch a tent. If you pitch your tent here, down there over the hill is a nice water supply. Pitch your tent here, get your alcohol stove out, start boiling some water, go down there and pick some fiddleheads, and live the good life. Get up in the morning, pick it all up, leave no trace, and away you go for another day of hiking. Life is good. I'm Tinny from Mini Bull Design. Get out and hike. Take a friend. Enjoy the great outdoors. And more important than anything, have a really great day. Bye-bye.